Welcome to the Prophecy Club, and I'm going to start today with the question, are there beings beneath us? Now, I'm talking about underneath the crust of the earth, as in underneath the land that we stand on. Are there beings under us, as in like the center of the earth or someplace down there? Are there? Well, Jules Verne wrote a book called A Journey to the Center of the Earth. Matter of fact, this paperback was the first edition of Jules Verne's classic 1864 science fiction tale about the most fantastical expedition to Earth's mysterious core via a descent through an extinct Icelandic volcano. Of course, I just talked about this at our church, and I'm looking at a picture of the actual first cover of the first paperback, 1864. The story involves German professor Otto Lindenbrock, who believes there are volcanic tubes going toward the center of the earth. He, his nephew Axel, and their guide Hans descend into the Icelandic volcano. I can't even begin to say that word. Encountering many adventures, including prehistoric animals, natural hazards, before eventually coming to the surface again in southern Italy at the Stromboli volcano. So my question today is, are there creatures underneath us? Yes or no? What would you say? Yes or no? Now here's the second question. Does the Bible say that there are creatures beneath us? The answer? Yes. And the answer is yes. Both of those are yes. Revelation 5. Now, I'm going to read a couple of scriptures before this so you can kind of get the flavor of what is going on. I saw in the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. Now, this is God sitting on the throne, which, by the way, a little hint here tells you that God is actually right-handed. No surprise. In his right hand, there was a book written within and on the backside and sealed with 7 seals. What is that book? That book is the book of judgment. In other words, it takes a perfect, holy, totally clean person that has not sinned at all to be able to open that book and to judge the people of the earth. Verse 2. I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice. This is a real important question here. Listen up. Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof? Well, obviously, there's only one person worthy, and it's got to be a person that is without sin. Verse 3, no man in heaven, here it is, nor in the earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. Okay, so if there are no creatures underneath us, why would it say neither under the earth? Now, let me read that again, because that says something else deeper. No man in heaven, nor in the earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. Meaning that everyone in heaven, on the earth, under the earth, in the sea, all of them, every place. That means all of the aliens, whatever's out there on other planets, in all of creation, all of creation. There is only one person that is sinless. Verse 5:11. And I beheld and heard the voice of many angels round about the throne and the beasts and the elders. The number of them was 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands, saying with a loud voice, I love this, worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches, wisdom and strength, honor, glory, and blessing. By the way, I might also add that verse was one of the toughest verses to memorize because you got a list of different words there. Anyway, let's go on. And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth, and under, here it is, again, under the earth, and such as are in the sea, and all that are in them, heard I saying, blessing, honor, glory, and power, be unto him that sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb forever and ever. But it says, and under the earth. So here we have 2 different verses saying something is under the earth, and that something is not without sin. So that brings us to the next question. Do you want to know what these creatures look like? Oh, the Bible describes them? Yes. And as one of our congregation members, one of the younger members, one of the teenagers walked up and said, do you believe these are just a spiritual thing, or do you think that these are actually in the flesh? I said, no, they're actually in the flesh. Let's go on. Revelation 9:1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Here it is. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth. Now keep that in mind. These are locusts, okay, like insects. Think insects. Locusts upon the earth. And unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing nor any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God on their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was the torment of a scorpion when he striketh the man. Okay, so you got this? These are locusts flying around with big stingers on their tails, stinging men, and the sting is so bad. Listen to this. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Another fella had a vision of people that would throw themselves in the water and go underneath the water trying to drown themselves, trying to kill themselves, and they couldn't. Well, now, I think that may have something to do with what I believe will be an injection that will be offered to those people that have the mark of the beast, and the devil is going to tell them, if you take the mark and if you take this injection, it's going to give you eternal life, and it's going to give them instant healing. Now, this next part is often very confusing. If you go onto the internet, and I have, and you start searching up some different pictures of what people have drawn, what they believe these locusts look like, many of the pictures are like horses because they misunderstand what this next verse is saying. It's not saying that they are in the shape of a horse. It's saying that as people prepare horses with these big breastplates on them, kind of like a person puts on like shining armor, like on a knight in shining armor. Well, it's like that. He's saying these locusts have these breastplates. In other words, they're like horses that are prepared to battle in that they have breastplates of iron. He's not saying that they're in the shape of a horse. Let me go on. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle. Not in the shape of horses, but like how you prepare a horse to battle. And on their heads were, as it were, crowns like gold. Their faces were as the faces of men. And they had on their hair the hair of women. And their teeth were as the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron. And the sound of their wings was the sound of many chariots, of many horses running to battle. And they had tails like scorpions. And there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. Now, hold on. Let's back up. Let's kind of get this in our head, especially since we're listening on radio. So try to picture this with me. You're looking at a locust, an insect that apparently is not a small insect. Apparently it's a pretty good-sized insect because the sound of it is the sound of chariots and many horses running to battle. So it makes a lot of sound. And it's probably not like a fly. It's probably more like a flying insect. A scorpion. So it's really loud. Face of a man, crown like gold, hair like women, teeth like lions, and they had breastplates of iron. So when you try to swat them out of the air, you can't. You try to, maybe even shoot them. Who knows? They are really, really, really tough to kill. And they have a really, really bad sting. Now, they're not going to kill you. They're going to sting you. And this is for everybody that doesn't have the mark of God. And unfortunately, those are only 144,000 that get sealed. So anybody at this point that is living on earth that is not, and it'll get me off the subject if I tell you all of the different qualifications to get that seal. But having Jesus in your heart is not one of the qualifications. You got to be Jewish. You got to have no guile in your mouth. You have to be perfect before the throne of God in order to be sealed. There's only 144,000 of them. So these rascals are getting people very interested in finding about the God, the creator of the universe, and his one and only way to heaven, and that's Jesus. This is all his perfect recruiting campaign. So get this picture. It's like a locust, crown like gold, face like man, hair like woman, teeth like lion, breastplates of iron, tails are like scorpions, and they sound like chariots running to battle. Now, there's a second thing. See, the locusts, they're not allowed to kill anybody. They are a torment. But the next guy, the horsemen, these kill. Revelation 9:14, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, a day, a month, and a year, for to slay a third part of men. So these guys, these are horsemen. And I got a feeling that these are physical horsemen or horses with riders on them, and they're really bad guys. And these guys go around and kill a third of the population on the earth. Now listen. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. I heard the number of them. What's 200,000? That's what we call today 200 billion. Now let's put this in perspective. If there's 200 billion of these fire-breathing horses with men on top going around trying to kill and do kill a third of the men on earth, there's 7 billion people on earth, and there's 200 billion of these horses. As you can imagine, that's about 28 horses per person on the earth. It's devastating. Verse 17. Thus I saw the horses in the vision, and here it is, and them that sat on them have breastplates of fire, of jacinth and brimstone. Today we would say to yellow, red, and of fire. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire, smoke, and brimstone. So kind of like you've heard of like flying dragons that have fire coming out of their mouth. These are not flying dragons. These are men on horses, and out of their mouths the horses. We'll be right back after this message. The extreme summer blowout is now in effect. You can get 50 DVDs for $250. That's $5 each. 25 for $160. That's $6.40 each. 15 for $120. That's $8 each. 10 for $100. Obviously $10 each. 6 for $70. 4 for $50, and 2 for $30. You can go to prophecyclub.com. There's a list of all the DVDs there, or you can call us and ask for the summer catalog, or download the catalog at prophecyclub.com. Flip through it, then decide which DVDs you want. That's 785-266-1112, and it expires soon. Call 785-266-1112 today. Some restrictions apply. Brian Melvin did an excellent job making this DVD called Hell in a Box and From Hell to Heaven. Excellent talk. I've heard about 30 some odd talks of people that have passed on, some to heaven, some to hell. This is one of the best ones. This held my attention all the way through. Now look, just as archaeology can be really powerful to win people to Christ, and you need that. You need this DVD in your hands to show people this will convince people. I'm saying this will convince the skeptic to get saved very powerfully. You want this DVD and this book, Hell in a Box and Hell to Heaven, and the book, A Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion. DVD gift of 30, book gift of 20, both for a gift of 45, prophecyclub.com or 785-266-1112. The Hell gift offer. Keep them out of it with the Hell gift offer. prophecyclub.com, 785-266-1112. And now, back to the program. And out of their mouths, the horses, out of the mouth of the horse comes fire, smoke, and brimstone, and that's not all. Now, it goes on to say, by these three, a third part of the men are killed by the fire, by the smoke, by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. But that's not all. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents, and they had heads, and with them they do hurt. Now, when I go on the internet and I look up some of the drawings or pictures that people have drawn to try to depict these, a lot of them have the tails looking like the serpent or a snake at the end of it. I don't think that's it. I think it's like a rock in a sock. Try to imagine a horse that has a tail that's, say, like 8 or 10 or maybe even 12 foot long. And they can whip this tail around, and on the end of it, it has a big, like a gigantic rock. Let's say it's, let's say it's, like the size of what I see is kind of like the size of a cantaloupe. Try to imagine a horse that has an 8 to 12 foot long tail that can whip around and hit you with something, but it's like a cantaloupe, except for it's like a rock, because it goes on to say, and with this serpent, like a rock and a sock, okay, with them they do hurt. Now, how bad is it? Listen to this. The rest of the men, which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone of wood, which can neither see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. Why did God send this? These are something that comes out of the pit. They are physical horses with physical riders on them. Out of their mouths come fire, smoke, and brimstone, and they have tails like 8 to 12 foot long with a big cantaloupe-sized rock on the end of it that whacks people. This is not just a punishment. This is not just pain. This is death. They are killing people that have not repented and turned and given their heart to Jesus. Now, how do we know this? Because neither repented they of their murders. So at this point, the only ones left on earth are pretty much the roving gangs that are going around living off of other people. They are killing, raping, murdering, and they're dope smokers. Because when it says of their sorceries, that's the way the Bible describes dope smokers, okay? So they're dope smokers and heroin addicts, and they're just wild people that all they do is go around, kill and rape and kill, steal, murder. That's all they do. And these 2 billion of these horses are loosed on them, trying their best to try to get them to be saved. And, of course, it doesn't work so good, but that's nevertheless what they're trying to do. To summarize what these look like, the rider has breastplates of fire, jacinth, and brimstone. The head of the horse is like a lion's head. Out of the mouth of the lion's head of the horse comes fire, smoke, and brimstone, and it kills 1/3 of the people on earth. And it also has a serpent's tail, like 8, 10, 12 foot long, and it's kind of like a rock and a sock that goes around and whack, kills people. Now, the question, do people rise out of the earth? In other words, are there people down underneath us? Listen to this, Revelation 11:3. I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days. That's 3.5 years. I believe that's the last 3.5 years of the 7-year tribulation. Clothed in sackcloth, which is basically black animal fur, okay? These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth, and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. In other words, these 2 witnesses, they don't need a security detail with weapons going around protecting them. Anyone tries to hurt them, it's just all of a sudden fire comes out of their mouth and they are toast, man. I mean, they're totally consumed. And if these 2 witnesses have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, they have power over waters to turn them to blood, and I believe, maybe I won't tell you that. I haven't told you that. I know who the 2 witnesses are. And by the way, it's right there in the scriptures in black and white. And as I show you this, and perhaps I'll get to doing that. Look, when I come out with this DVD, Revelations on Revelation, you gotta get it, because it is going to be really powerful. Like I say, in there I'm going to show you who the 2 witnesses are. It's right there, Blaze. You can see it. You say, well, how come I didn't see that? At least that's what I did. But again, when you go memorizing stuff, you see deeper things. Let me get to the point, though. And when they shall finish their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit. Okay, well, what's in the bottomless pit? Departed souls. The beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them. That's the 2 witnesses. And shall overcome them and kill them. That's proving to us that there is something alive underneath our feet and other than these locusts and horsemen. Now let's go to Revelation 17. There came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials talk to me and saying, Come, I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. I believe that that is the Christian church, the largest Christian church, which is probably the Catholic Church. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, means that this is a group of Christians that has caused many other Christians to fall away. When you hear fornication, that means that they've fallen away from God. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication, means that the people that live on the earth have drunk in, and I believe when it's talking about here, the wine of the fornication, it's movies, music, porn, television that has caused many people around the globe to fall away. And who makes the TV programs? Who makes the movies? Who makes the music? The answer is the United States of America, specifically California mostly, specifically Los Angeles, even more specifically the San Fernando Valley. Verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. I saw a woman set upon a scarlet-colored beast. I'm not going to go into explaining that today or we'll miss our point. Full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and decked with gold, precious stones, and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations, filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, this is talking about America, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman, this is the American church, probably the Catholic Church, drunken with the blood of saints and with the blood of martyrs of Jesus. So this is, and by the way, this is not talking about what has happened in the past. Revelation is not talking about past things. It's talking about the future, meaning that there's going to be a lot of blood from a lot of saints, a lot of martyrs of Jesus created in the next, let's say probably before 2030. That's a good safe bet. Again, I'm not trying to set a date, okay? I'm giving you ballpark figures. When I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So John sees her and says, wow, this is something really, and by the way, when they see the Antichrist, they're going to wonder with great admiration there too. And the beast that carrieth her, which had the 7 heads and the 10 horns, and here we come to the point I'm trying to make. And the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. That means that in 97 AD, when John was on the Isle of Patmos, when he got the angel that came to him that brought him the whole Revelation, which he wrote into a book we call today Revelation, was basically saying at this time the beast was not alive. Too complicated. I don't have time to go into explaining all that. But basically, the beast was once alive, but is not alive in 96 AD when John is seeing this, but shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. He will come back to life, and he will go into perdition, meaning he'll go into hell. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, they're going to be amazed at the Antichrist when they see him, shall wonder, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world when they behold the beast that was once alive and is not. So the point I'm trying to make is, yes, there is people, there's things underneath us. That's the point of the big broadcast today. Now, let's move to another question. Is the bottomless pit ever closed? As in, is it finally destroyed and nothing else comes out of it? Revelation 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. He laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is called the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit. And, here it is, shut him up, and set a seal on him, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. Now, who wins the final battle? Who is the rider on the white horse? Revelation 19, verse 11. And I saw heaven opened, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. He was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which are in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, and with it he should smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth out the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of Almighty God. Take me a while to explain that. And he hath on his vesture, or on his the clothes, and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come, gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God. Okay, this is Armageddon coming up. That you may eat the flesh of kings, the flesh of captains, the flesh of mighty men, the flesh of horses, and them that sat on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, small and great. And I saw the beast. There you go. That's the Antichrist, and the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered together to make war against him, that's Jesus, that sat on the horse, and against his army. So, what is really going on with all these Democrats, all this anger against Trump? This is where they're really heading. They're heading to a time when they can have a world government with the Antichrist at the lead, and what they're trying to do is destroy the kingdom of Jesus, destroy the Christ, and of course it doesn't happen. Here's what happens. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them, that had received the mark of the beast, and that had worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. Now here's the conclusion. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat on the horse, which proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. Now what's the sword that proceeds out of the mouth of Jesus? That's when he brandishes his sword. That's with the breath of his nostrils. That's when all of a sudden he cuts down everyone whose names are not written in the book of life. If you don't want to be one that is destroyed, you've got to accept Jesus now. Time is running out. If you don't accept Jesus before the time of the end gets here, the Bible says that the strong delusion will convince you that Jesus is not Lord. The Antichrist is going to come speaking great things and blasphemies against the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And if you have not already received Jesus, most cases you will deny him, lose your salvation. Now's the time to throw away all the sin and turn to Jesus and read your King James Bible like your life and your soul depends on it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for those gifts of support. God bless. Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. The Extreme Summer Blowout is now in effect. You can get 50 DVDs for $250, that's $5 each. 25 for $160, that's $6.40 each. 15 for $120, that's $8 each. 10 for $100, obviously $10 each. 6 for $70, 4 for $50, and 2 for $30. You can go to prophecyclub.com. There's a list of all the DVDs there, or you can call us and ask for the summer catalog, or download the catalog at prophecyclub.com. Flip through it, then decide which DVDs you want. That's 785-266-1112, and it expires soon. Call 785-266-1112 today. Some restrictions apply. Lindsey Williams has just come out with his newest DVD titled How Trump Changed Elite Plans. How Trump changed elite plans, and he did. Topics: be prepared to view the most shocking DVD I've ever made. Nothing like this has happened in 6,000 years. Something catastrophic is beginning to develop. It will change your life forever and the life of your children and grandchildren. This is the most important information I've ever given about the future. Call How Trump Changed Elite Plans at prophecyclub.com. Available for shipping now.